Hello, 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 everybody. What's going on today, man? Let me get this started. That's right, man. It's a do. We're just getting it started. That's exactly what we try and do here. It's like just wake up and get ready, and everybody, welcome to the Skits FUNHOUSE. That's right, man. Hey, it's great that you're here. I'm excited. I got some really cool guests today. It's two people. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I usually only have one person on here because I can only handle one person at a time. But today I decided, hey, I know these two people. One I used to work with, one I met years ago with that individual at an actual convention. So, let's just bring them both in and let's talk about it. It'll be kind of like people coming together for the first time in like a decade or something like that. So that's cool. Whenever you can do stuff like that, that's cool. That's exciting. Just bringing people back. I mean, we've been kind of on lockdown for a while, and it's like, let's get people together. Let's create communities. Let's just get excited about having people all together again. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Hey, I showed you right there on the screen. We had, hold on here. Boom. We got the campaign here. Go on over there and sign up. We just played the video. That's Skits Origin. That's going to be dropping like so soon. We're like weeks away. We're like days away. I mean, it is getting so close. I'll be putting stuff out there that I'll say, hey, boom, 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 boom. 5 days, 6 days, 4. We'll do the countdown. We'll count down. We won't count up like 5, 6. We'll do like 6, 5, 4, 3. So we'll be doing that. So that's really cool. So go on over there and check that out. Sign up. You get $5 off the book, a discount. That's a big discount, man. It's like, so go over there and get signed up so you can get that discount. Got a bunch of people already on the list, but we'll be having a lot more soon. So just go over there and check that out. That'll be really cool. I don't know what's going on with me today, but it probably has something to do with I just don't talk all day, So I gotta get me some water, Sometimes you get parched, so gotta keep hydrated, get that water in you. It's all dried up. Oh, it's like just gotta kind of do it. I wanted to show a couple little things that I got in the mail here recently. Someone who's been on the show before, Dave Schwartz. Just wanted to showcase his books came in, Confederate Monster. I haven't had a chance to read these because it just came in yesterday. But hey, man, these are really cool. They look nice. Let me try and get one up on there. There we go. Get that angle right. So go out there and try and get that. That's really cool. Dave Schwartz, Confederate Monster. I mean, the artwork looks cool. I'm excited about the story. It seems really cool, So just go over there and check that out. I just wanted to kind of show that, it looks exciting, looks cool and everything. Couple other things, one, children's books, man. I love children's books, and some of the best art in the world is in children's books. I just wanted to kind of show y'all, some of my favorite children's books from time to time. What to do with an idea. This one's really cool, but there's actually 3 of them. There's what to do with a problem and what to do with a chance. These things are really cool. The illustrations in these, it's just like the cover. Really nice pencil illustrations with spots of color. Just really cool. Written by Kobe Yamada and illustrated by May Besom. I think it's Besom. Besom. So I'll just say that. But anyway, illustration's fantastic. The writing's actually pretty cool too. A lot of times with children's books. I mean, when you're an adult, you just kind of read them or read over them. Sometimes they're not so fun because you're an adult and they're supposed to be for kids. But these were actually pretty cool. The artwork's really exciting. So go over there and check that out. So my guests have gotten here a little bit early today, so we'll probably just start bringing them in here in a minute. But I just wanted to give everyone a heads up for the show next week. Next week, we got a huge guest. I don't even know how I got him, but anyway, he's going to be on. We're going to have Ben Templesmith next week, so that's awesome. I've always been a huge fan of his work. First time I ever saw his work is when he worked on Spawn. He took over for Ashley Wood on I can't even remember the Spawn book name right off the top of my head. I'm sure Gonzo, who's waiting in the background, he probably knows the name of the book. But anyway, really, really cool artist. He's got a new book coming out. Just launched today, I think, or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. It launched yesterday. So go check him out over there on Indiegogo. I think it's doing really, really good. So anyway, we'll have him next week. That'll be awesome. Ben Templesmith. I mean, how huge is that? I just wrote him. I was like, hey, I see you got a campaign. Want to come on the show? He wrote me back in like a minute. He was like, yeah, sure. That sounds great. It's just like, wow, okay. It's the easiest person in the world to get on the show. So super excited for that. Let me, before I bring people in, let me say hello to everyone in the chat. See how everyone's doing. Got Black Star. She's going to be dropping links and saying hey to everybody. Appreciate you for being in there. We got Verse Films. They're here. We got Mandible Smasher, as always, #1 fan right there. Mandible Smasher, thanks a lot for being here. We appreciate you. You have to warm up the vocals before you. Well, you know, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. You know, yeah, you do. You got to warm them up, but whatever. Just go for it. You know, you weren't allowed to warm them up when I was in the military. They just start yelling at you, and you got to yell back. So you know, that's just kind of how it goes. But we got Alex Big Blue. Hey, Big Blue, how are you? Appreciate you for being here. Awesome. Original Hate by Ben Templesmith. That's it. Yep. Original Hate. So that's his book. So he's going to be here next week. So that's going to be super, super exciting. And of course, go check out Verse Films production over there on YouTube. They're still trying to get to 100 subscribers. So go check them out. They're doing horror stuff all the time. She just did a live stream last week where she did the one chip challenge, and it was exciting. It was kind of crazy. We had to end it early. I was like, oh, we got to end. We got to go. So you probably want to go over there and check that thing out. That was really, really cool. So, yeah. Go check that out. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing in our guests right now. First up to bat, I'm going to bring them in just one at a time and say hello to them. And then we'll just get into it. But first, Crager, are you ready? Are you ready to come on in here?
Sure.
I'm gonna add you in. Woo! Jason Crager, welcome to the Skits FUNHOUSE!
How are you, my friend? I haven't seen you in what, like a year?
It's been a while. It's been crazy, you know, but here you are again, and we're going to go ahead and do this. But before we get into it, I just wanted to say hello to you. We're going to bring in another friend of both of ours. We're going to bring in Gonzo. Welcome
hey, Gonzo.
to the Skits FUNHOUSE!
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing good. Just getting shit done. Skits.
Wait! I forgot to tell y'all the one thing. The only rule here is no cursing because we have kids who watch.
Okay, cool. Did I swear?
Just a little bit. It was just a little one. We'll let it go. It'll be fine.
All right, cool, man.
That's it. That's it. Everything else can go.
I'll watch my language. And to answer your question, it was Hellspawn was the book that's
right.
Yeah, it was the Hellspawn book.
Yep.
I actually been kind of friendly with. Actually, I'm like friends with Ben now. We ended up doing like 4 or 5 shows in a row at the same, like together, or like we were both at the same shows, like 5 or 4 over the course of like 3 or 4 months, and so we've enjoyed many a meal and hung out a bit. He's a good dude. Yeah, love that guy.
So is he from Australia? Is that it?
Yeah, he's from the west coast of Australia.
Okay, so so the part of Australia that most people don't know anything about, or
no one knows. Yeah, like the Perth area. Yeah, we're but
awesome.
Super cool guy. I'm sure you'll enjoy hanging out with him. Yeah, very very cool, very creative, and super cool.
Nice. So, Crager.
Yes.
I know that you're kind of on a time limit today, so I kind of wanted to, get you going first.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Sure.
So, something that I know that you watched the other day, because you sent me the artwork and you had it on your Twitter and stuff, was what was it? The Brian Stelfreeze?
Brian Stelfreeze, Dave Finch.
Yeah.
Painting. And it was cool. I liked watching it. So Brian's an excellent teacher.
Yeah, see, that's just one of the things. It's like you kind of know the artwork but you don't know the people until you actually see them and see them talk and stuff like that. So for me, it was kind of like, wow, this guy's really good at what he does. Like I know a lot of different styles of art, but I am so terrible at keeping my thoughts in order that I'm all over the place. But that guy, he is sharp and on top of it, man.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
what did you think of the overall stream? I mean, I'm guessing you got a lot out of it because I seen your artwork. You kind of did the same technique that he did.
I did. I did get a lot out of it. So I'm helping a friend of mine get like back into shape as far as like drawing goes, and he doesn't have a lot of confidence in doing it, but he's an artist. Like he's done it his whole life. He has a degree in it and or a bachelor's degree, and he just needs to get back to it. So I've been trying to help him, and I've been trying to find like little things to kind of help him with stuff. And of course, as a side effect, it affects me also. So I'm looking up the basics again, and of course it's making an impact on me as well. So I just happened to see the Dave Finch stuff, and I watch that stuff every once in a while to see what he's talking about. And it's fun to watch him draw. I used to sit over his shoulder when he would be at Weems's house and just irritate the shit out of him. The crap out of him. So
not much better.
Sorry, irritate the crap out of him. Sorry, hi Black Star. I'm sorry. Anyways, so I would I'm looking for stuff, so I watch his stuff a bunch. Anyways, it was great. I loved watching how he thinks of things as just thumbnails and how they're going to attract the eye and how it needs to follow your eye and how he colors things based upon that. And the little balloon with the little string and how the detail, like how you when you're doing like character sketches or portraits and stuff like that, think of it as like a balloon on a string, and all the details focused on the balloon, whereas the string is the stuff that kind of falls to the wayside. And it was just
you gotta have more. It's like you have your detail in your extreme blacks and whites in the place that you want people to look, and then everything kind of goes away from there.
Right. And you can push that and pull that and do all that stuff. So did you all see the Peacemaker piece I did? No, this ridiculous Peacemaker piece so I wasn't content with me doing the Still Freeze piece of Star that I did. And I had to just nail that style. Okay, like there was nothing short of nailing it. I wouldn't be happy. So here we go.
Nice.
Yeah, that's great, man.
That's awesome, man. And just I gotta say, I actually really like that show.
Oh yeah, it's a great show.
I mean, it is ridiculously silly and over the top, but gosh, is it fun. I think me and my wife's favorite part is the intro. The title intro where they're dancing.
I don't skip that ever. I watch it every time.
I know.
We're never skipping this. This dance
I know,
routine is
like
amazing.
that's the only. It's the only show I think we watch where we actually watch the intro to it. Except for maybe the other DC one where it has all the Teen Titans ones, or it's just Titans, because the intro for Titans is actually like 4 or 5 seconds, and that's it. So it's like, okay, we'll watch that.
Never seen that.
Yeah,
So
right.
So
I
Crager, I gotta ask, man.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You did that piece after you watched the Still Freeze thing?
Yeah.
I think Crager's being a little modest here, man. He is a guy I've known. I don't know if we've mentioned this. I've known Crager since for 35 years, since junior high school. Like we went to junior high together and in high school together. He's a guy who just ingests art. Like he like looks at things, studies them, takes them apart and eats them, and then can put them back into the world. And like him kind of taking in that still free style, practicing it twice before he puts out that Peacemaker piece. Like it's
Yeah, that
beautiful,
was
man.
that was number 2.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about him is just his ability to like, he has a compulsive, almost pathological need to understand things that he enjoys, and so he fixates, dismantles, ingests, and then can produce those in a way that like across disciplines. Like he's a guy who like got into sculpting and just like learned how to like make that all happen. He's gotten into all kinds of different like styles of art that he can kind of like dip in and out of, you know, from like hardcore black and white, you know, rendered stuff to, you know, washes and what have you. Yeah. So that's a Peacemaker piece is amazing, man. I dig it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So when you actually dig into that sort of stuff, when you're digging into that art and everything, do you look into exactly how it was created, or do you look at it and say, here's how I would create it?
So unless somebody's showing you the specific way of how they did something, you're kind of guessing. And you know, I tend to, I'm a very tactile type person, so I'll stalk an artist and I'll look at their stuff. Like I'll find them and I'll just go and look at their stuff. And the same thing happened with sculpting. Like I found somebody's stuff that I liked, I stalked them, and then they let me in their studio, and then I just start dismantling how they do stuff. Like in it, at first it's kind of, it's very admirable because I'm there like, oh, your stuff's so great. And then I start asking them all these questions about why they would do this or why they would do that, because I need to know why they're making those decisions. So, go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to ask you, so, okay, this kind of will roll into another question later on, but traditional and digital, like one of the things that when I was in high school, I was looking at stuff and I was like, oh, this looks really, really cool. But I didn't know that they were creating it digitally. So I was like, okay, how do I make that type of art traditionally, you know, because that's all I knew. But it was actually digital work. So I remember when I got to college, I was doing some stuff and people were like, oh, that's really nice digital work. I'm like, it's not digital, it's traditional. And they were like, what? It looks like, I was like, well, you know, I didn't know that they were, you know, that was done digitally. So I just had to teach myself how to do it traditionally. So is that something that you ever run into where it's like, man, you know, this photography process is really cool. How do I make that traditionally with traditional art materials?
You know, I tend not to, like, if something's digital, it's digital. And I try to find out as much as possible so I don't misconstrue how I'm going to end up doing something. But let's just say I did come across something that I really liked and I just wanted to make it happen. I will cobble shit together. Like I will stuff together. Sorry. God, you know what?
Can you even do this, dude?
I owe you like $2 now. Apparently, I can't. No, I can't do anything without cussing.
I just do the do whatever you do.
Okay, I'm gonna stop. So yeah, I mean, Gonzo's right. What I can't dismantle, I'll go find or out how to do. And I always remember, like, everybody has their price, so it's really easy to kind of go meet your heroes and like learn the way they do stuff because there's always something they might want. Yeah. So I tend to kind of lean on that sometimes, and I've been put in some situations where I've got to meet some really, really, really cool people that do really, really cool things. So, but I've never misconstrued something like that, but I will cobble stuff together to try to meet a certain idea. Like, I think that's about the closest that Peacemaker piece that I've ever gotten to kind of doing something that's Bill Sankovich-y without being like distorted like how he does it. Like if I wanted to, I could put it in the computer and mess with it and do some stuff that would kind of do that, but it's in that end of the pool.
Well, this is something that I've been dealing with and working with myself, where I'm just like, okay, I want traditional art. Like, I want to sit at the table and do traditional art. I don't want to sit in front of a computer. But at the same time, I know I can create something like 10 times faster if I just do it in the computer, And
Right.
it's one of those things where it's like, well, is it production? Is it original artwork? What's the deal? That's just one of those things. And it's like, but wait a minute. Okay, I sell the original art and I can make prints of it if I wanted to.
Right.
Or I can do the same thing with digital. I can't sell an original, but I can sell,
limited prints.
Yeah, G-clays and signed and numbered editions, all that sort of stuff, and still make money off of it. So, and also it's a lower price point for people who want to actually just have the artwork, that can't afford original art. So,
right. I mean,
where do y'all stand with that?
I find I'll just be real quick here. I just find, I love like anything I do digital at least starts on paper. Like I will always pencil touch paper before it gets into the computer, which is what I did for all of the first series of Lamano. Was all penciled by hand, but then inked and colored digitally, and all the effects happen digitally. The second series that I'm working on, the thing that I'm actually promoting now, the second series of Lamano, I'm going back to like inking on paper. Like I'm doing my pencils and inks by hand. I can move a little quicker on paper, but also there's a lot more room for discovery when you're like physically making art. There's like kind of rooms for like happy accidents and like imperfections, and just the when I'm on a computer, for me personally, I'm executing a plan, and rarely do I kind of like stray off of that too far. Whereas when I'm working on paper, there's a lot more room for serendipity, and that's just kind of like how it's worked for me.
Well, when we worked at McFarlane,
yes,
this was the first time this had ever happened. We actually had to do pencil drawings of our designs before we would actually work on the designs, and we you bring them to Todd and he'd sign off on them and stuff like that. That was the first time I had ever worked any place, production wise, advertising, any of that sort of stuff, where I actually had to do a process that they teach you in art school, where it's like you got to start here and do the foundation, and then you get signed off by the director, and then you go into your digital. That was the first time ever and I was just like, holy cow! Like, you actually want to see a drawing? Cool, whatever.
Todd's also a guy who can extrapolate from what he sees in a pencil sketch to what it's actually going to be. Most people who are decision makers have like a visualization impairment where they can't they need to see it almost like 90% done before they can then make changes to it. Todd can see it in the pencil stage. You go like, maybe make that bigger, smaller, whatever. And I also, as a guy, like when I went to design school, I had a marker rendering class where we learned how to make marker comps to sell the client before computers. Like, because even doing it on the computer back when I started was a lot more arduous a process, and it was just quicker to do it. And then, I think I think you should plan quickly and then execute meticulously. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able, spontaneity and energy should be there. That's why thumbnails are important, right? Because you get the energy and the posture, and then blow those up and execute against those, because you're never going to have the energy as when it's not for real. And I think that's kind of the benefit of doing physical stuff. Is the digital stuff to me it seems too real kind of the whole time. It's hard for me to get that this is temporary state in it. But that's just me.
I can definitely see that. I mean, that's just kind of where I'm at. I've always wanted physical work in front of me. I'm the one who has piles of sketchbooks. I got stuff where I'm just I got it in my hand, and I'm
man, I've got
sewing them up.
What is it over on this side? Yeah, I've got folders full of original art sitting right there. Physical
it's
art boards, ink.
Yeah, that's just something that I want to have. I want to have original artwork, but at the same time, you got to do digital a lot, just for time reasons, time constraints.
It depends on what it is. Like I said, I can ink way quicker on paper than I can. So I just did a bunch of pages. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I just did a bunch of pages for a Cheech and Chong book that's coming out, and the time crunch happened, and so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm doing this physically, because I have to just be able to blaze through it. I can't sit there on my computer and just make sure everything's just so. It's like I had to make room for kind of like happy accidents and just get in there.
Exclusive.
Yeah, there you
Exclusive.
go.
Gonzo's working on Cheech and Chong.
Well, I'm only doing 12 pages of a 80 to 100 page book, so I did like maybe a tenth of it. But it's coming out. It's coming out in on 4/20 on April 20th. It'll be
So
on
great.
Of course.
So, yeah,
So
12 of the
funny.
pages in there are mine. Yeah.
So funny. The soberest guy I know
I know.
drawing Cheech and Chong pages.
I can't
That's
believe they asked me to do it, but it was fun to stretch that kind of stoner muscle from like years and years ago to like,
Right.
oh yeah, I could still draw people smoking weed. I can still draw like trippy hippie stuff. Yeah, it was fun.
It's so good. That's so funny.
So Craig, listen, I don't know why, but for some reason I always want to call you Crager. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, because I think it's a cool name, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, thank you.
So I don't know, Crager, and I always called Jason Gonzo because that's
no
what
one
we
calls
call
me
him
my
at work.
yeah. No one calls me by my government name. Yeah, it feels weird when people do it. So yeah, Gonzo's totally fun. Yeah.
So
well, regardless, like people either called me by my last name and not by my art name. Like my art name is Jason Crager, but in real life, my real name is Jewett, and all my friends who've known me for 20 plus or more years, they will call me Jewett. They don't call me Jason.
There's
They're
too many
like, "Hey,
Jasons in the world. That's why we're all our last name. That's why I'm Gonzo, because my last name is Gonzalez, and it's just a lot to say, so it got shortened to Gonzo.
yeah,
That's right.
If you'd have grown up with me in Holly Hill, it's right next to it's basically Daytona Beach, Florida. That's where I was born and raised. But in Holly Hill, if you grew up with me in Holly Hill, everyone knows me as Siggy. Most of them, they don't even know my first name's Michael. My last name is Siegenthaler, so everyone always called me Siggy. So
nice.
The
easiest way to tell if you knew me as a kid or not, Siggy. That's it. So Crager,
Mm-hmm.
you have two campaigns. You got one that just delivered, Kill Journal. People have been talking about it here in the chat.
Right.
They're saying like, "Oh my gosh, Kill Journal is so awesome." I'm trying to go back and find where. Oh, here we go. Rick Saylor, he's always over here on the shows.
Hey,
He said, "I
Rick.
got my Kill Journal. Did an awesome job." So
thank you.
So how do you feel about it now that it's shipped out and people are actually telling you like what they think about it?
I'm getting a lot of good feedback. Like everybody loves the printing. Everybody loves the art. They really like Gifted Rebels. They like the story, and it delivered in a really cool, like embossed, like gold pressed. Like it's really nice, and it's only $40, and it's so cheap that people are like, "How are you selling it this cheap? This thing's awesome." So
And
hey,
how many pages? How many pages?
It's like 140.
Oh, that's awesome.
Something like that. So it's really cool. Kill Journal is fire. So yeah, it's going out. I haven't gotten my copies yet. So I'm supposed to get a bunch of copies, but everybody else seems to be getting copies. So, and I have tracking, but the company is the logistics company that has them in Long Beach, which is literally 10 minutes from me. And I could go over there and probably bang on their door. Hasn't delivered my books to the to the post office yet, but I do have a tracking number, so it's just kind of waiting. So
don't you love it when that happens, where you get an email and it's like you get the tracking number and then you sit there for a week or two, but it still hasn't made it to the post office to be shipped out?
It's so nuts. I could spit and probably hit them from here. Yeah, I'm pretty annoyed by it, but there's nothing I can do. So it's so funny.
Well, what about let's show people a little something else here for a second. Give me a second. Give me a second here, people. I'm gonna put this up. Boom. We got Hammer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Hammer pages in there.
When is Hammer gonna be done?
Hammer, so I finished it. It's we're finishing up contract stuff currently, and then it goes off to the printer.
Nice.
Currently, the book's been done for a couple months. So, and I put out a PDF to all the backers so that they could read it. And you can go to the physical updates currently and still like download it and read it if you want to. So I'm not like holding it back from the public just because they don't want to buy my book.
Don't say anything bad. Just say good things. Like it's been done and it's about to go to the printer. That's all people need to know.
Oh yeah, totally. So and I would welcome people to come and you know, if they didn't pick it up, just read it. I think it's actually pretty decent. So
well, I'm gonna have to go check out the digital version because I backed it, but I just didn't. I must have missed the email.
You don't read your stuff. Herman,
I get
that's my buddy Herman keep popping his stuff up. So and if I don't say anything about Herman, who's my favorite person, like he'll kill me. So it is ridiculous, man. He loves my stuff, so he has a lot of my commissions, and it's really cool. So I really appreciate that guy.
That's awesome, man. It's always good to have people who are like in your corner, helping you, like supporting you and stuff like that. That's one of the things that from doing the Skits campaign that really stuck out with me was I've never really put myself out there art-wise. You know, I've always done like traditional art. I've shown in galleries, stuff like that. And every now and then you get somebody who really likes your work and they buy a few pieces. But with doing this, it really kind of touched me to see what people were doing, what they were saying, you know, the how they were backing you. And I've just, you know, I don't know what to say. I mean, I just say thank you to all those people, you know. It's really nice.
They're making our dreams happen, man. When I finished the book, the first thing I did was release it to everybody, and then I started looking for reviewers. So one of my favorite reviews is like Raging Rainbow. He did a review of my book, and he has a great voice, man. I don't care what anybody says. His voice is perfect to like do comic book stuff. So he went through the book, talked about the whole thing, like even read it out loud. It was really cool. Nice. And it was cool seeing somebody else like really into it. And I liked him. And Trash Can Conductor is really cool. He did a review, and I just did a little podcast thing with him. So reviewing my books are great. I've had a couple people try to review the art, and I just am like, okay. It would, if you're going to review the art, like I get it. So I can't draw everything like perfect every time, but
yeah, I mean, why try? I mean, most people, if you want everything perfect, just go ahead and do photo, realistic, bashing, that sort of stuff, right?
Right. Like Hammer's Hammer, and, you know, the other books that I'm doing outside of Hammer look different. I have another IP that I'm doing called This Way to the Apocalypse, and I'm designing it with a friend of mine, Dave Wagner, and Marco Gali. And I'm going to ink it, but I'm pretty much orchestrating it. So it's going to end up in like the ultra mega Murder Falcon type into the pool, Jeff Darrow, like, but loose. Nice. And and we're going to do it physically. So we're going to be doing that type of stuff. So there's many, as Gonzo said, I can do many styles. And
I gotta say though, I think Hammer's one of the best things you've ever drawn, though. Like when he started showing me pages that really early on, I was like pretty blown away by. And this is a guy who's pretty impressed with your work for 35 years. I still think Hammer is pretty spectacular in what you've put together. Just the motivation. It's motivated intricacy in a way that serves the story, that's executed without being muddied or busy. If that makes sense.
Right. I mean, It would be a bitch to color. Like, that's all I would say about that book. Yeah, another one. Is that a bad word? Is that a bad word, though?
I don't know. If I was to say it to my wife, I'd get in trouble, you know. But.
Yeah, she'd be like, beat you, boy.
So tell me, hey, man, Hammer is. You can still get this. You can still back this. This is in demand. Tell people why they should go get it right now. I think they should go get it. I was one of the early backers. Why should people go get this?
It's in demand for the next 30 days while I'm hashing out all these contracts. It's already ready to go to print. We're just waiting to pull those triggers, essentially. And so everything's ready. Like, it's print ready. It's just sitting in limbo right now till these contracts end up in my hands. So while that's going on over the next 30 days, you should go and back this book while you can, because this will be the only time it is like this, where every issue is signed either by me, Joe Benitez, and John Levisay. It's special. And then when issue 2 comes out, we're going to be changing the way we do things. So this book is going to become a little different in the format that you'll be given, and you'll be given 2 issues at a time instead of single issues.
So format, you just mean like it's going to be a smaller issues instead of one big one, or do you actually mean like the size of the book will be different size?
So the size of so right now, this first issue will be comic book size. So when I do the second issue campaign, I'm going to take issue 1 and issue 2 and a 10-page story that I did that kind of explains some stuff that happened in the past. Throw it in together in like a 100+ page book, and it's going to be hardcover. They call it, what do they call it? Oversized. It's not oversized. It's like artist size or something. So it's 11 by 7 or something like that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's proportionately. That's what. If you blow up standard 6625 by 10.25 to like 11 inches tall, it ends up being 7 inches wide. Because that's what I did for my trade paperback for Lamano for the 400-page bilingual one. Is it's 7 by 11. Yeah, so that's slightly bigger. Yep.
So it's going to be slightly bigger, but it'll be hardcover. So when it comes out, it'll be 2 issues at a time from that point on, issues 1 and 2 together, and then 3 and 4 together.
Nice.
4 and 5, 5 and 6 together. It'll all go together in little, so you'll end up with 5 hardcovers that go together that makes up 10 issues.
Nice. So
it'll be sexy.
Everyone should go out there and back Hammer. I'm excited to get my physical copy, but I gotta go read the digital. So I mean, if you buy it, you can get the digital copy right now. So that's just awesome,
That's right. So it's going to be good, man. I have a lot of people have said a lot of good things about it. So, and I'm really surprised. I kind of surprised myself. So usually I'm more run by the seat of my pants type guy, and this is really well thought out and just well constructed. Thanks to actually my art partners, so Marco Gali and of course Jay Gonzo, who worked on the book also. So you guys should, pick it up for them also. And Dan Wickline, who helped round out some of it with his prose also in the there's like a 4-page extra little prose story smashed right in the middle of it. So you should enjoy that. That stuff's fun, man. And everything in here is canon. So like, as far as I'm concerned, everything we create for the book creates the canon of this world. So everybody I asked to create stuff for it, like Jay Gonzo and Dan Wickline and stuff like that, all their stuff is canon to my world. So I'm going to find ways to incorporate it into and as I keep building this world into my books.
Nice. That's just awesome stuff, man. So I wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit. Go back to campaigning and how how to actually sell our product. And I think Gonzo might have a little more experience with this because he's been doing it for a little bit longer. Also, I know he's done all sorts of different stuff, like prints, handmade stuff, all different types of stuff. So one of the cool things that I liked from your last campaign, Gonzo, was your luchador mask.
Yeah.
Okay, that to me was like boss. I mean, it was so cool. Like with Skits, I'm also doing the same thing. Like I did these little masks on the inside where you cut them out and you can paint them. You could do whatever you wanted with them. Skits craft mask. I also did like paper puppet bookmarks and just trying different stuff. And I know, Crager, you did some 3D prints or 3D printed little statues and stuff like that. And those things were really cool. So, Gonzo, also, Gonzo, you got your stuff printed with Image.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So how did that go? How did getting the book printed with Image? I mean, how did that help you out?
Well, I mean, it's been great. Just it's opened up a world of opportunity. Once you get an Image book, like your life as a comic artist kind of changes. Like you're just at a different like level. I mean, for lack of a better term, like people just know that you're legit, right? Like they know that you really make comics when you've got an Image book printed. Especially being like a one-man show. Like I do everything on my comic. I write, pencil, draw, ink, color, letter, graphic design, handle the printing stuff. So yeah, I mean, part of that was just based on the success of the Kickstarter, which was pretty robust. It was it was a 400-page bilingual flip book, like we talked about it on your show before. And it came with like all that other stuff, and so it was like a pretty big number that funded, and so that kind of proves that there was an audience for the thing that I was making, and maybe not for the way that I made it for the Kickstarter, which was just really like a lot of bells and whistles. It had like, it was on uncoated paper, it had spot varnish and a gold foil band and all this stuff, the belly band and the masks and what have you. Funny you should bring up the masks. That guy, the guy who makes those, has disappeared on me. And he's been paid already, and the only way I could get a hold of him was through Facebook, which is how I've been communicating with him. My Facebook account got hacked about a month ago, and the hackers got me banned from Facebook. So I have no way to get a hold of that guy. And he's more than like 6 months late anyway. He's been paid, so I'm just out that money. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do about that. So I'm still looking into ways to get a hold of him. We have friends in common, so I'm going to try to get a hold of him. But he's had a bad spell of luck. Like I don't want to talk about his business, but he may not be in a position to like to do the mask. So I gotta find a new mask source. But anyway, so the campaign happened, and I got to say too, everyone who backed the Kickstarter initially was going to have their books before the Image book even got announced. But production chain management, the pandemic has really messed things up to the point where I didn't even get my books until about 8 months after I was supposed to. Then I broke my arm, which has put me out of business for a while. There's been like it's almost comical the amount of things that have like been messed up with my printing. So I'm still very much fulfilling that. Anyway, I'll
tap the brakes. Tap the brakes. Okay. So can I put you on the spot? How old are you, Gonzo?
I'm going to be 48 in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so are you a professional skateboarder?
Well, I am done now. No, I am not professional.
Okay, so you're 48 years old and you're still trying to like hit rails and do jumps on your skateboard.
I was skateboarding until May 30th of this past year was the last day I skateboarded because I broke my arm for the second time skateboarding. And this time, the first time I broke it, I cracked my radius and I cracked my scaphoid and a few other things. This time I snapped my humerus. Like I broke my arm bone into two separate pieces, and it had to get 2 metal plates and 17 screws now hold my arm together.
So basically, you don't make money skateboarding, but you're willing to put your livelihood on the line to skateboard.
You sound an awful lot like a lot of people in my life, including Jason Crager here.
Oh yeah, man. I was like, he wrote, "I broke my arm." I went, "You're
Yeah.
I called him a bad name. I go, tell me you're kidding. And he was like, no, I'm not kidding. I broke
And
my
it
arm.
was my drawing arm too. So anyway, that hampered some of the fulfillment on my Kickstarter.
You thought you had a stroke during that time too.
Oh yeah, I also got hospitalized. I've had, in the time since I started my Kickstarter campaign and today, I've been hospitalized 4 times. Well, I've been, as I should say, I've been hospitalized twice, emergency hospitalized twice, and then I've had 3 surgeries.
Oh my gosh.
2 stemming from the first hospitalization, 1 stemming from the second hospitalization. I've had a spate of bad luck, a little bit of bad luck, but so that happened to screw up some of my timing. One of which was I had been talking to Top Cow about taking Lamano. Yes, definitely. I've been taking Lamano to Top Cow and Image, and it was going to be well after the Kickstarter had happened. And then in talking to my printer who was handling my fulfillment, I was like, hey man, I just need this to be in everyone's hands before they can get it at a comic book store. And my printer was like, oh, when does that happen? I'm like, oh, May. And this was like back in January. He's like, oh yeah, that can definitely happen. And it for sure didn't happen. So I got everyone who backed my Kickstarter, I got to apologize. I'm doing doodles right now. Like I was talking, I'm doing doodles for people because a lot of my backer rewards were those handmade doodles. So they like you were talking about having like a lot of handmade stuff to sell people.
Yeah.
Like these doodles are done by hand, so and they're quick and they're fun. I mean, like this is my version of Lamano, so it's not overtly complicated, but it is like a handmade piece of art you can have for like it was an extra like $20 or something on the Kickstarter campaign, and I was in a much better place to like produce these before I broke my arm. I'm working through it, but anyway, it was pretty turnkey for Top Cow, who I had just done a book for the year prior. And I had a really good experience, and they had a good experience working with me. And they were like, what do you have going on? I'm like, well, I'm doing my own trade paperback of Lamano. And I was kind of given advice from people that were like, well, you should do the Image version first, and then your Kickstarter version second. And to me, I was like, well, to me, the version that needs to exist is that bilingual version. It needs to be oversized, on newsprint, spot varnish, the replica belly band, the mask, all of that. If that doesn't happen, I kind of don't care if a truncated version of that happens for the direct market. But I was told, like, look, man, if you don't fund your Kickstarter, though, if it fails, then Image is going to pull the plug. Like, you're not going to be able to do an English only version. And so I was willing to bank on myself with this kind of big Kickstarter before going to Image. It also changed the conversation between me and Top Cow now is different because I had proven the fan base was there. I was like, look, man, I already, this thing already happened, and then you guys can kind of like, add on to that. And so it was a great experience though, like getting it out in the direct market. But the weird thing is like the Kickstarter and then having self-published these for a decade, I kind of know everyone who buys my comics. Like I hand sell them at shows. I kind of get to know, I've got a few thousand fans and I kind of know them all personally, like at least they look familiar. Now that there's that Image book out there, I got people like hitting me up or like people talking about my book that I've never interacted with. And that's weird. Like it's gone beyond my personal control now, where people are out there buying and enjoying and talking about Lamano without me being any kind of interlocutor. And that's been the really kind of the cool thing about Image, getting my book into that kind of like next level of like bookstores and libraries and stuff.
Are you going to be doing more with Top Cow?
So right now the second series of Lamano that I'm doing is coming out. I'm using, it's still Castle and Key, which is me, and it's coming out through Zoop, which is Zoop is a crowdfunding platform specifically for comic books, and they handle all of the fulfillment and logistics and all of that. So all I have to do is make a good comic book, and then they handle everything else, which is like everything else is what screwed up my kind of logistics on my Kickstarter campaign. So I'm letting trained professionals. These are guys from the industry who started this, who know what they're doing, who've done plenty of Kickstarters, comic books specifically for big companies like IDW and all that sort of thing. So I'm letting them handle it. So I'm going to do the single issues through Zoop, and then I may or may not do the trade paperback once I finish this 5-issue story arc. I might do it as a trade paperback via Top Cow or Image, depending on where I'm at. Like that's probably like a year away, so I don't really know what it's going to be. But like, and right now, the way that the series is going to work is issue 1, this one that you're looking at here. It's going to be an 80-page giant issue. Like, so it's 80 pages. And like I set up in the series, I don't know anyone who watched the first series, like the luchadors are famous in this world So they do stuff like they make movies and they're on TV shows and have cartoons made after them. Like this illustration I did is like, this is the cartoon version of like what they look like in that world. So if you turn on TV in their world, this is what you'll see on TV. But so what I'm going to do with this 80-page giant is I'm going to do 40 pages or 20 pages of like real world, of like we're continuing the story in the real world. Then we're going to do 40-page comic book adaptation of a movie that he has made, he has starred in. It's a spy thriller called Tangier Target that Lamano, the character, went and was like played Lamano in a movie. And so we're going to see that entire story play out, start to finish, complete story. That's metafiction. It's fiction within the fiction of the world that I've created. And then we're going to go back to the quote unquote real world and have 20 more pages of like real world. And so and then the subsequent issues are going to oscillate between real world story, comic book adaptation of a movie, real world story, comic book adaptation, and then back and forth. So it's going to be this issue, then a real world issue, then comic book adaptation of another movie, which is a sci-fi adventure, which is giant monster versus giant robots, then back to the real world. Then we're going to do a surf movie, and we're going to go back to the real world. Then we're going to do the movie that he's been making the whole time. In the real world, we're going to see him on the set doing things. Like a lot of the conflict is him kind of dealing with Hollywood. We're going to see that movie, which is a jungle adventure. Then we're going to conclude with the real world. So when I collect the trade paperback for like Image might just be all the real world stuff. And then the trade paperback I do for myself might also include all of those comic book adaptations of movies that he's made. So it will be like the more deluxe version will always be the one I do, whereas Image is going to kind of do the safer bet, like here's just a comic book story all in one thing. I hope that made sense.
Okay, so that's like a ton of stuff for people to download and then go back and listen to it. So let me ask you this. Okay, so you're doing Zoo, and hey, Crager, you got a lot of background noise. That's why I was just muting you and stuff. So
sorry.
That's all right. I was just letting you know. But
did it go away?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
So Zoop, what? So you went with Zoop. Are you going to be doing it on Kickstarter as well? I mean,
no, I'm going to stick with Zoop primarily because of their production, their handling of the production. Because Kickstarter is a great platform, but you can kind of get lost in all the other comic stuff that's happening there, right? Like personally, when I launched the first one, I also launched the same day that Keanu Reeves decided to put a Kickstarter out. So it was like he sucked all the oxygen out of the comics conversation happening there. Also, it was hard to get any press coverage because everyone wanted to talk about Matt Kent and Keanu Reeves. No one wanted to talk about any independent guys doing anything. And then also, Kickstarter's like, lots of luck, man. Like, hope you can make this happen. You know, like they have no add-on capabilities. They've got like they're trying to beta test some of that, but like and then I'm responsible for production and fulfillment and all of that. Zoop handles all of that for you. Like, I've given them the original comics and go, these are what the comics need to look and feel like on this paper, this size, all of that, this print quality. They went and got a quote and made sure that could happen. They're going to handle any of those kind of like, definitely not messing with Keanu. Sorry, I got nothing to say bad about Keanu. He just kind of sucked the oxygen out of Kickstarter for a minute. Also, Zoop makes sure that like we're not stepping on each other's toes. Like they're only launching a few campaigns at once, so it's always kind of, and it's also curated. Like it does. Like I'm not going to be right next to someone's like really not greatly made comic. Like it's all going to be of a certain quality. So that's kind of cool to know too. But so like all of those paper supply issues that I had or printer issues, like those are all emails and phone calls that Zoop's going to make on my behalf. I don't have to make those calls. I can just sit and make sure all the artwork looks cool and is ready to go. So
cool. Having
done all of the logistics of such a robust Kickstarter, I am fully willing to let somebody else handle all of that nonsense because I'm an artist, not a logistics professional.
Well, see, that's the big thing that people don't know that they're getting into when they get into this is that, you know, not only do you have to make the thing, you also got to ship it out. You got to talk to the printers. You got to get it printed. You got to pay people for this, that, and the other. You know, you got to make sure that you charged enough for shipping. So, you know, those are huge things. And I think it all, sometimes I've seen a few people, they get overwhelmed by it and they just end up just failing and just like, they're in limbo right now. Like you said, you know, it's like, man, you know, it's like, I gotta, you know, what do I do next? And it's kind of hard to restart it, you know, after you've kind of faltered and fallen to the side a little bit.
Yeah, for sure,
So,
man. I'm so happy it's being handled for me by people who know what they're doing, and also like it allows me too to like focus on finishing up my Kickstarter fulfillment before I even jump into this. Like that's kind of my main priorities. I want everyone who paid for the first trade paperback to have it in their hands before someone else can get the second one or even the first issue of the second series. So yeah, like them kind of handling all of this has been great. I've been like literally like like I showed you, I'm just doing doodles, doing my Kickstarter fulfillment like literally moments before I jumped on here. When we're done, I'm going to go right back to Kickstarter fulfillment. So yeah, once Zoop, if it funds, then that fulfillment will all just be yeah, definitely that'll be handled. That'll be being handled while I'm doing other things. Like I'm not a one-man show when it comes to all of it anymore, and that it's been wonderful. Like they've been great. They've been communicative. They've been on top of it. Like I don't know what their vetting process is to use them, but if anyone has any notions of like self-publishing, they're definitely an option worth checking out. Like just for ease of use kind of engagement.
Hey, Crager, do you have to get going? I know you said you had to go early, so are you at that time?
Yeah, I'm about at that time, so
all right. Well, tell everybody goodbye, but also tell people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at jcragervonderabo, and you can find me on Instagram at CragerJason, and you can find me on Facebook at Jason Alistair Crowley Crager. And
yeah, I got to vouch for the fact that his Instagram is a great follow. Like his art process stuff is amazing. Yeah, everyone should be following you on Instagram.
Yeah, Crager Jason. It's real easy. I just post stuff as I do it. So, and you're always doing it. No muss, no fuss. Yeah, I'm trying. I try to keep things moving, man. Speaking of which, Gonzo.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So
it's happening.
That being said, gentlemen, I appreciate it. It was good to see you, Michael.
It's great to have you on here. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll do this sooner next time. We won't wait a whole year before we get back on it again, if that's cool.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, we'll do something for issue 2 of Hammer, and then when This Way to the Apocalypse comes out, we'll do some of that stuff too. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Nice. You guys have a great day. It's good to see you, Gonzo. You look good, buddy.
You, man. Yeah, it's great to see you, dude. I'll be out. We'll be out soon. I'll see you soon.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Give my love to everyone over there too, by the way.
I will. Bye.
All right, bye. Dude, he's thinking about it. Oh, there he goes.
I got him.
All right, cool.
Okay, so you're doing Zoop right now, and it sounds like you're really happy with it. And
I really am. Yeah. I mean, it's
and you're going to be doing more with Image, so it sounds like stuff's going good as long as you stay off the skateboard, right?
Yeah, I'm done with the skateboard. That for sure. Like, dude, the day it happened from the hospital, right when my wife walked in we had, I think at that point I wasn't even casted yet, but we had taken the X-rays and we knew it was like broken, like 2 separate pieces broken. Before she could say anything, I'm like, so that was the last day I skateboarded, and she's like, okay, perfect. I thought we were gonna have to have an argument about this. I'm like, no. Like this is the second break on my drawing arm skateboarding. I can't. And honestly, the thing is like, after I broke the wrist, I was on an 8-foot pool when I broke my wrist. I was hot dogging and I kind of deserved it. Yeah. When I broke my arm, I was on like a 3-foot bank doing a little rock and roll at the top of it. Like I was not, gosh. and I had a wrist guard on because I was like, oh, I need to be safe. I'm going to have my wrist guard on. So nothing would have saved me other than like a Barry Bonds-esque like arm brace. Like nothing would have saved me from breaking my arm except to not be on a skateboard. And that has to be how it is. Like I miss it. I enjoy it, but I cannot risk my career. Because when it happened, I was numb from my shoulder to my fingertips. Like I couldn't feel my arm at all. And I thought I had severed my radial nerve, and I thought that I had ended my career. Like from breaking it to walking across to get to my car, to get to the hospital. I thought, what do I do now that I can't draw? Like, cause I thought my career was over. By the time I got to the hospital, I could feel my arm again, which was kind of a mixed blessing because now I could feel that I had a broken arm. But I could move my fingertips like a little bit. And so the doctors came in and they're like, you'll make a full recovery. It's going to suck, but you're going to make a full recovery because we can see that you can move your fingertips. So it was like, once I knew it was going to be okay, I was kind of better about it. But it's been a long road. Man, I'm in physical therapy every week for an hour, and it's been since June of last year. Like, so,
Oh my gosh,
7 or
man.
8 months now. I've just been, and it's still, I can't straighten my arm out all the way. I can't pull it to my shoulder all the way, but I can draw. So that was like but I couldn't for the first 3 months. I couldn't even hold a pencil. It felt like there was a really tight glove on my hand and I couldn't really move it smoothly.
Yeah.
But now that once I got back to being able to draw, it took about 3 months to get back to being able to draw again. I was like, okay, cool. Like whatever else I get recovery wise will be great. But yeah, man,
Well,
it was a perspective shift in my life, right? Like,
well, let me just let me tell you one thing, okay? So my wife, she's like, every now and then we'll have a conversation, and she's like, "Man, I really want to go skydiving. You want to go skydiving?" I'm like, "No, not. I have zero desire to skydive, and I have even less desire to bungee jump. I don't care about any of. I don't want to do it. And
Okay.
she's like, "Why don't you?" I'm like, "No. To me, jumping out of an airplane, the only reason I would ever jump out of an airplane is if it was going down and I had a parachute.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no other reason ever that I would want to jump out of a dang airplane. Never. But she's like, "Oh, we should, don't you want to do it with me? We could do that together." I'm like, "No, you go ahead. Like, have fun. I'm not." I was like,
Yeah.
I blacken out on
Like roller coasters.
yeah, roller coasters. Like, I'll get going really into the corkscrews and stuff, and I see the black coming in on me. I mean, that's the last thing.
You
That's
don't want
the
to do that
last
while you
thing
have
I
to pull
want to
a
do.
parachute. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you jump out of an airplane and then you black out. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen video of that happen to people. Yeah. Man, I've been skateboarding since like 1977, somewhere around there. I always loved it. It's always been a part of my life. I've never really given it up, and I was really just getting back into it. I don't know, man. It was like one of the things that kind of reminded me of who I was, or who I am. But
Yeah.
it is also a thing that I had to put away. Like I don't. I do kind of miss it, and I do I still follow a bunch of skateboarding accounts on my Instagram, so I see like skateboard videos all the time, and I kind of like, oh man, I wish I could do that, but at no point am I even like half tempted to like go grab my skateboard and like sneak a session in, because like at this point, dude, I've dodged the bullet twice now. I've broken my drawing arm, but recovered fully twice. I don't think there's a third time for me. I don't think there's I'm not that lucky.
Okay, so when I was in high school, me and my friends, we would go and play basketball all the time.
Yep.
Okay. Now there were these 9-foot rims at the elementary school next to my house, and that's where we'd go play, because we couldn't slam a 10-foot because we're all short, but we could slam the 9-footer. So we would always go play on the 9-footer because we like slamming the ball in and stuff like that. So one day we were out there playing like we always do, and I went for a slam, and I hit the rim with the ball, right?
Yeah.
We've been going for a couple hours. We're getting tired. And then I fell backwards. I landed on my left wrist, and I just went poof. And I got up. I was like, oh man, I went numb in the arm, and I'm like, oh, I was like, I got to sit this one out, guys, man. My hand went numb. And so they kept playing, they're just playing 21. And I was like sitting there for about 5 minutes, and it started to feel a little better. I was like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good. So I went home. I was like, listen, I can't play basketball anymore. My hand's hurting pretty bad. So I go home, and I like get me a bowl of soup, and I'm like, putting the soup in there, and I start eating, and my hand just starts killing me. So I put the soup down, and I turn my hand over, and I got these weird swelling bits all over my wrist, and I'm like, dude, I think I broke something. So, but long story short, I broke the ball off of that bone right there, and I split the other bone right down the middle.
Oh, good grief.
And I didn't even feel it,
Yeah.
But I was just like, yeah, I'm never going to play in the NBA. Maybe I don't need to be slamming the ball in anymore.
Yeah. That's where I am with skateboarding. It's like my skateboard career is never going to take off. So maybe I just don't do it anymore. Maybe I don't need to like prove anything to myself.
But you could get you a longboard, and
even that, man. Like I only fell like 2 extra feet when I broke my arm this time. So I don't know. Like literally just standing on it, it could fall out from like I could just fall backwards. Like too much can go wrong on it. I just think, you know, I've aged out of skateboarding. For me personally, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna call it a career. So
there you go. This guy's got the right idea. Inner
yeah,
tube
yeah.
in a tropical lagoon and mix cocktails. Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
like
Well, minus the mixed cocktails, I'm totally down for the inner tube and the lagoon. So yeah.
exactly. You know, you know me. I've never had alcohol my entire
Oh, that's
life.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah. So, but okay, let me just ask you one quick thing before
Okay.
we start wrapping this thing up. It's not
Alrighty.
actually quick. So,
Okay.
out of all the things that you've sold over the years, because I know you've done some of those big, really nice prints.
Yep.
You know, you had some handmade stuff, some little artwork pieces. What's the things that you think have sold the best for you?
Oh man. That's a good question. You know, the comics always really seem to sell well. Sold best. You know what sold best for me is I've got these little $2. They're done in this style. They're done in this like UPA kind of like
Yeah.
50s cartoon style. I've got a little one of Lamano and Calavera, and they're $2. They cost, you know, like I do them 2 up on an 8.5 by 11 and then cut them down to size of like 5 by 7s. So they cost me all of like, you know, like a quarter or something. So I sell them for like $1, or I'd sell them for $2. So like it's like a $1.75 markup, you know, per print.
Yeah.
I sell the heck out of those because people they want to buy something, and it's like it's not to
cheap.
say that it's the cheapest thing, but it's like it's the smallest, nicest thing that I have, and I display them. Even though you just get the prints, when I display them at my table, I have them in these like little gold frames, so they look kind of like you see how they look, and that's the thing I always try to like instill in people, like, you know, like you got to show people what it's you got to meet them more than halfway. You got to show them what it's going to look like when they buy a frame and frame it and hang it up. Like, here, let me meet you halfway. So I'm going to show you like the display version of it, so you kind of know what to do with it when you take it home and want to put it up in your house. Like, because I think some people see a print that small and they're thinking, oh, I'm just going to put that on a magnet on my fridge and then I'll have it there. And like, do I really want that? But I'm like, oh no, look, here's like it in a gold frame. Here's kind of like what you can do with it. And I do the same with like my larger prints and things. So yeah, I think kind of, you know, people want to engage in as much stuff as they can. And I just give them like an access point where it's like, it's an easy non-decision, $2. Here you go. I'll sign it for you too. So you can get like a signed version of it. And it barely costs me anything. And, you know, and it barely costs them anything. And that's probably if not the comic books, it's like, it's the best selling non-comic book thing I have is those silly little prints.
Yeah, now, so that makes kind of sense because we did a show. We set up doing skits. This was the first show we've ever done, and we did really, really well comparative to all the people around us. And the show was kind of dead. You know, like these people weren't even making their table money.
Yeah.
And you know, we did really well. I mean, I really felt bad, but I mean, this was our first show, so people don't know who we are and stuff like that. So that might have added a little bit to it. But the thing that I saw a lot of people selling is like prints, like big prints like this for like $20, and they sign them and stuff like that. And I remember seeing this years ago. I forget the painter, but he did all the painted covers for the Marvel zombie books.
Oh, Arthur Sujim or
Sujim.
Yeah, however you say his name. Yeah. It's Arthur Sudy something or other. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just call him Arthur. So
yeah, there you go.
I've been seeing him selling his prints for forever, you know, like but it's just $20. He signs it and away you go. And you know, those prints don't cost that much, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 50 cents a piece, maybe. I mean, because he's buying them in huge bulk. But he'll have like 4 tables, and he'll have like 50 of them, you know, 50 different images set up on there. And he's killing it. His table is just swamped. He's selling $20 bits over and over again. And at this show, there was a couple that was a few tables away from us. This guy was doing manga characters, you know, and he was doing it in his own style. It was all black and white pretty much, but you know, they're same thing, $20 prints and stuff like that. And that's all he does. They just go, he has a setup, he has everything in a little bag. It has a big old thing that's way up in the air and everything. But it's just like, it seems like those people who are doing that are killing it. And I'm just sitting here like, you know, I've never wanted to buy something like that. That's never been something that I've wanted.
Those guys are selling. They're selling recognizability. Like they're selling things that people know. Like because all those Arthur prints are like they're characters people have seen before. It's like, oh, it's zombie Thor. It's zombie. You know, so it's all recognition. And the same with the manga guy. Like there are people who do that. And look, I don't besmirch anyone's like. I was talking to my studio mate about this. I don't besmirch anyone's way that they make money with their art because it's hard to make money as an artist.
Yeah.
But like the thing when it comes to selling like anime characters, even done in your style, you're kind of selling other people's IP, and you're really helping that IP out more than you're helping yourself out.
Exactly.
So if you guess wrong at the next show, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do all Macross stuff, and like, oh no, it was all Battle of the Planets. This like that's what's selling, like that's what's hot, or My Hero Academia, or whatever the newest hottest anime is. Like you can miss, and then you're just not going to make any money. And so that's like you're constantly having to like hedge your bets and guess that. My thing is like what I do is I'm not good enough to not love everything that I do, because most of what I'm selling is the love that I put into it, and people can see the care and the love and enthusiasm I have for it. They can't articulate it, but there's a sense of like my joy is in everything that I do, and that's what I'm really selling. And I also find that, especially at shows, people are want to collect stories more than they want to collect stuff, right? So I try to give everyone like a narrative when it comes to everything that I have on my thing. So like these are hand silk screen prints. There's only 50 of them in the world. So now not only do you get to, when you buy the print, not only do you get the print, but you get to tell the story when someone sees it at your house. You go, oh yeah, I bought this from the guy. There's only 50 of these in the world, and I got one. How cool is that? Yeah. Or these are all hand silk screen by me, like, or these are all block prints I did. I cut the linoleum and I printed these myself. So like I try to give people as much of a story and a narrative as I possibly can, and love it too, and like do things that I love, so that when they buy it, they're not just getting a thing, but they're like, oh yeah, this was done by the guy, and it's because of this, that, and the other thing, and they've got a whole narrative already attached to it, ready to go up for like when they put it up in their house.
Well, see, I really like the signed and numbered limited edition type stuff. Yep. I mean, to me, that's something, and it's a little more expensive because it's usually like a silk screen or it's a G-Clay or something like that. Now, let me tell you a little story. Years ago, back in, I think it was 95 or something like that, 96. It might have been 96. I went to a show in Savannah at a buddy's place in this warehouse and stuff like that. And I was going to see this dude's artwork. Didn't know who he was. His name was Shepard. And he had all these posters up and stuff like that. And they're all signed and numbered. They were really cool. I was just like, dude, man, these things are awesome, And I didn't have much money at the time. I had my backpack on me and always had sketchbooks and stuff like that and little handmade books. And dude saw me looking at him. He was like, oh, you like these right here? I was like, yeah, man, these are really cool. He's like, would you want one or something like that? I'm like, well, I ain't really got much money. He's like, are you a student here at SCAD? I was like, yeah. He's like, do you have any artwork on you? I was like, yeah, I'll show you. And I had these little handmade books. He's like, man, these handmade books are cool, man. You want to do a trade? I was like, heck yeah, So anyway, like we ended up trading. I think I got 3 or 4 of his pieces in it for one of these little sketchbooks. It was like, maybe 8 to 10 pages in the sketchbook. But that was Shepard Fairley, and I mean, now everyone knows who he is. And back then, he was just this guy. He had some Andre stickers and stuff like that. And, the rest is history. I've seen some of those signed and numbers that I actually have on eBay, and they're going for like thousands of dollars because they were like some of his first ones he ever did,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
nice,
I mean, cool. Yeah, I mean, so that's really cool. I like that sort of stuff, and it actually, the value goes up because it is signed and numbered and limited.
Yeah. I mean, I think those sorts of things tend to do well. If, like, it's all part of the narrative. It's all part of the like, oh yeah, there's only so many of these in the world. I have some. He signed every one of them, so I've got like the signature on there. Yeah, so I do sets like that too, where I'll sign a number of things and do limited editions. I think those just, for me, it also creates a sense of like urgency. It's not like, if you want it, get it now because it might not be here next year because there is only like 10 left or like however many left. So, and I never reprint or repurpose any of those. Like once they're gone, they're gone. So, and people, I think people are starting to get to know that about me. Like when I say limited edition, these are limited and you're never going to see them again. Because I've had people after the fact like, oh, hey, can I get X, Y, or Z? I'm like, nah, that was only for Kickstarter backers. That was the only way to get it. You're never, I'm not going to undercut. I made a promise to the people I sold the first 22 that there was only going to be 20. So I don't get to sneak an extra one in there for you. So I think there's a lot of bit of like that, respecting the audience. It goes a long way for sure.
Yeah. Like I made a few of some of my work, and I'm going to be doing some prints in the next campaign, and I'm just kind of wondering how it's going to be. I'm going to be limiting the prints to 25.
Oh, nice.
And they're, I got a couple double page spreads, and they're what is it, 22 by 17,
Yep.
the image, and then I'll have like a 2-inch border around it, signed and numbered, and then I have some that are 11 by 17, that are. But these are, I'm actually just doing. No, I'm going to be doing some original art too, but some of it is just my digital painting type stuff.
Oh, nice.
That there's no original artwork for. So
yeah.
I'm kind of interested to see how some of that stuff goes. I don't have any of them right here. Actually, I sold them. I sold them on a stream. I did them as artist proofs. Cool. Yeah, I had a few prints done, like 2 of each, and I sold them on here. They were just artist proofs, so they're
cool.
actually more desirable than the signed and numbered. So.
Nice.
But
very cool.
Gonzo,
hey man, it's great seeing you.
It was really great, man. We'll have to do this again
for sure.
We'll have to do it sooner, because who knows, you might be breaking an arm, having a heart attack.
I'm gonna try not to.
Since the last show we did, you did all sorts of stuff. I think your heart attack was actually not too long after our last
it was maybe a stroke, but it wasn't a stroke. It was it was a transient neurological attack is what it officially was known as, which is a TNI is also a type of transient neurological attack, but I wasn't technically a TNI because they didn't put me on blood thinners after the fact. So long story short, I got a pretty good bill of health now. I just got to get my arm back, but I'm trying to play it safe, trying to be healthier. But we should definitely do this sooner rather than later, because who knows how long any of us have, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let me go ahead and put this back up here. Tell people why they need to go buy your book. I mean, obviously it's awesome, but tell them a little more than that.
Oh, I mean, so it's 80 pages. It's got a complete comic book adaptation of a movie within those 80 pages. It's a continuation. If you like series 1, it's a continuation of that world. We're going to see a lot more of that world, that like where lucha libre is the most important thing in that world. I'm going to get out and meet more characters. We're going to have a lot more involvement and kind of like stuff outside the ring. The first story was very confined to like the wrestling that happened in the ring. This is going to expand out to the world and see some of the political machinations and the sociological implications of what all that means. Also, I get to do dumb stuff like make movies where, like, because he's a famous like luchador now, so you're going to see a spy movie, a surf movie, a giant monster movie, and a jungle adventure movie. So yeah, it's going to be dumb stuff. Yeah, dumb fun stuff. Got some great rewards here, including some like really nice limited edition prints and stuff like that. The posters from the movies that he made are like kind of shown there. Yeah, we got some really good rewards here. We only have a little more than a week left, so if anyone can help me out, that would be awesome. We're like coming up on 60% funded, so if we can get over the hump on this, would be fantastic.
Well,
and like I said, I also have. Sorry, I was going to say I also have trained professionals making sure fulfillment happens. So this is going to happen sooner rather than later. Also, I am committed to anyone who backed the first campaign. I'm committed to finishing that before I even start page 1 of this. I will have all of my Kickstarter backers fulfilled. So. There you go. Sweet. That's my promise to everybody.
Sweet. Now tell people where they can find you on socials.
Right now, just go to Gonzo Art on Instagram. It's really that, and Lamano Comic, LAMANO Comic on Twitter. Those are the only 2 social media platforms I'm using right now. So Gonzo Art, all one word, the letter J, Gonzo Art on Instagram, Lamano Comic on Twitter. So follow me there.
Do you have a website?
I do, but it's just like my graphic design website. It's like a decade old at this point. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's Gonzo Art, www.jgonzoart.com. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Gonzo Designs.
Oh,
is my yeah.
You don't even know the name of your website.
I know, like I don't go there anymore, but it's mostly like my advertising graphic design portfolio, and it's also almost a decade old. I was in the middle of revamping it when I broke my arm. So thank you, Mandible Spasher. I'm off skateboards for sure. So, but yeah, just go Instagram and Twitter are like the best places to follow me. That's like where I'm most involved. Yeah, so check those out. If you want to buy the first, so anyone who backs the Kickstarter for the second series is going to get a PDF of the first trade paperback. So they have the first part of the story. That's automatic. If you want to buy that first version of it, you can just Google search Lamano del Destino, click shopping. It's an Image comic, so you can get that version anywhere, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, what is it, Target? Yeah, so just Lamano del Destino, click shopping, and you'll find all kinds of ways you can buy that Image version of the trade paperback. Plenty of them out there.
All right, sweet. Now, everybody go on over there to skitscomic.com. That's where we have everything. You can get a link to all of our social media stuff. You also have our videos and news and everything that we're doing over there. Basically anything that's really important for Skits, you will find it out here first. We got the mini movie there. That's awesome. You can go over to the shop, of course. This is where you'll land when you first come to it. You can buy the comic books. You can buy original artwork. You can buy just about anything you want that we have for sale is on there right now. So definitely go check that out. And I want to say special thanks to all of the people who stopped by, who were talking in the chat. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Without you, I mean, if y'all don't watch it, there's no point in doing it. So really, I do appreciate y'all. A bunch of new people who came in after all the people at the beginning. Let me see. GJ Martinez. Who else was some of the other people? Nefarious. Appreciate you. Let me go through some of these names here. Dan Plagle. Appreciate you for stopping by. I hope I'm saying this stuff right. And just so y'all know, I'm from the South. I don't say anything properly, so I try my best. That's all I can promise. Mandible Smasher, you were there at the beginning. I said hey to you and thanks. Rick Saylor, you came in. I appreciate you. William C. These are some of our regulars. We really do appreciate all y'all. Thank you so much for stopping by. Past Master Dan, he was in there. Thank you so much, Past Master Dan. Thank you, and go over there to skitscomic.com and go check out Gonzo, all of his stuff on social media and everything, and also all the links are in the description here for the show as well. Thank you, and remember, next week we got Ben Temple-Smith. I mean, this is going to be awesome, man. Ben Temple-Smith, so step on by. I'll be putting out links for all that early. Probably first of the week, so everyone can come on by. And if you got questions for Ben Temple-Smith, ask him. So we'll see you, and thank you so much for stopping by, Gonzo.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Have a good one.